You are now listening to Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, the voice for the people. Join Richie alongside co-host property damage attorney Hans Kennon as they bring light to the taboo world of big insurance companies, exposing their tactics and fighting for justice. Hear stories from contractors across the state. Contractor Talk, here to protect homeowners and uncover the truth.
All right. Welcome to the show, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, live every Monday night, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. here on this fine station, 94.9 FM, 950 on the AM dial, The Answer here in Central Florida. And then we chop this up. We take it to podcast after that. Check us out on our YouTube page. There where you will find not only our program here, I was going to say, wait for it, our program here, but also you'll be able to see Hans' Dapper Suit of the Week. And at no point will you see the same Dapper suit on Hans at any point. So the same, you might see some similar color arrangements, but at no point are you going to see the same material here at any time. So I task you with this to go and watch every episode, every show, to check in on Hans' Dapper Suit of the Week. So
You can try.
But there's only one Hans and only one Dapper Suit of the Week, so that you'll find it. And you'll find us on our YouTube page. So like us, subscribe us there. About midweek, then we release the show here after it's post-produced. And then we're also on podcasts, or streaming rather. So we take our podcast to streaming. So you'll find us on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere that you like to stream, I would say by Wednesday or Thursday. And we label them so you know who is on our show as a guest. You'll know what the show is about, and then you can kind of select from there. We have years and years of content. So good luck and really dig in and find out what you really like. We have the same kind of theme going on, though. One thing that I would say, quite known about is bringing this information that we've talked about for years and years as contractors, and our struggles and our pains and all of the law changes and everything that comes with it. And, I'm like, wow, we should really open this up to consumers, because they're the ones that show up to vote. I mean, we're all consumers as well, right? I mean, but the masses need to understand that when these laws change that affect the way that we all do business as contractors, we're only as good as the consumer laws allow for. And we've seen this really cry true in the past couple of years when we saw a shift with the major law changes in 2022 and in 2023, starting from Senate Bill 2A all the way to House Bill 837 in 2023, which took away attorney's fees. And really that was what allow these insurance companies to come out with crazy articles now in 2025 that say 15 insurance companies denied or underpaid 50% of every claim that was filed after the law changes, or the storm that came in rather after the law change occurred, right? So we had a major system come in, and we had Hurricane Helene, Hurricane Milton that came through. And of those two storms, 15 insurance companies were called out on denying or underpaying 50% of all claims filed. That's just disgusting to me, especially being at the top of that leaderboard was proudly Citizens, which owns a million policies of the 6.5 million policies that exist for HO3 policies here in the state of Florida. So the rest of them are renter policies, or maybe they're commercial policies because they're in other units or condos and that kind of thing. So, but single family residential homes, they have to have an HO3 policy that gives them RCV coverage, replacement cost value, and it also is supposed to give them ordinance and law for those code upgrades, so when a storm hits today and you have to rebuild your roof, or there's electrical or plumbing or something that's in there an additional to within the scope, well, it covers those additional things to bring it up to today's code. Well, we've seen those rights and privileges really be erased one by one. Law changes over the years, the insurance companies playing the long game. And so, but there's never been a voice up in Tallahassee, or if there is, it's minor, or they've been downplayed to enough to where they've actually, people would believe what the legislators would actually believe these stories that folks were telling. And they're saying, well, the reasons why insurance premiums keep going up every year, we're talking about property insurance rates continue to go up, is, at one point it turned to you, Hans. They said, it's the attorneys and the roofers and all those guys that are playing the system. And so they made some changes to the point to where, say, it was so much the roofers, and in 2020 they created, what was it, Senate Bill 76, that said all these solicitation rights are like, you can't knock on a door and offer anything of value in exchange for a contract that where insurance proceeds were payable. And it's like, you can't give them a pen. You couldn't give them anything. There are certain things that you had to say.
You could barely give them a compliment, for God's sakes.
Right. Right. There's certain things you could and cannot say, and still today, if you're doing an insurance contract and you're a roofer, you have to really be careful about what you state in your contract. Let it be known that you're not soliciting in a way that's offering a free deductible or no deductible, whatever it is.
Which is always funny too, because no other trade has the same restriction.
None.
No one does. Public adjusters can go out the day of because it was a First Amendment right for them.
Mm-hmm.
So the First Amendment applied to the PAs, doesn't apply to lawyers, doesn't apply to roofers, to a whole different groups who they choose to pick on. As you know, many years ago, it was the public adjusters.
Right.
Then it was contractors who utilized the assignment of benefits.
Right.
Then it became roofers, and then roofers kind of backed off a little bit, and then it became back to roofers, and then for lawyers. I mean, my view of this is continued to be that they keep trying to kill us, and despite the attempts, we're still here and we're still fighting for consumers and doing what we can for them, and still getting them results that I'd like to say are surprisingly complete, given the fact that the statutes have changed to such an extent that people don't even know if they can hire a lawyer anymore without it really taking money out of their own pocket, or simply giving up on whether they want to bring a claim at all, whether they want to contest the claim, whether they want to disagree even with the claim. And again, what we've seen a few years ago, where people were actually kind of scared of their insurance company, they were afraid to make a claim. We've seen more of a resurgence in people being more angry at their insurance company and upset for the fact that claims have been denied. But even so, I mean, no matter what they've done to attorney's fees and everything else, we still represent people every day, still get them good results. I had 3 results today on 3 mediations I had with DFS today.
Congratulations.
So when we get that done, we take them to trial. I beat Universal at trial 2 weeks ago after 5-6 days in trial against crazy. Universal. So we're still here fighting for everybody, and we're still getting good results. But so if you're out there and you have any concerns about, well, gee, what do I do now? How will I find somebody? That's one reason Rich and I have done this show, and God, it's been like 5 years, hasn't it?
It really has. I mean,
because we had the live show a couple of years ago. We did podcasts, and we're back live on the radio now.
Right.
So a long time. We're still here fighting for everybody. You need something, you let me know.
That's right. And we always say this too. I mean, get out your phones if you already have it out there. Put in lawyer, put in Hans, and that way you have it. You can text, you can call him. You need a lawyer on standby and one that'll work for you with no money up front. Right. That's what's been great, is that your results are based off of overall results, or payment or revolved around your results. Right. I mean, it really is. And so no recovery, no fee in your world. So whether it be a car accident, whether it be damage to your home that still hasn't been resolved in an insurance claim, then they have somebody to call and text, or maybe even send you a copy of their policy and say, hey, I think I have some damages.
And if you have your phone out, it's 407-782-0258. 407-782-0258. One thing I want to mention about Citizens, last couple of weeks ago, a 92-year-old man in Miami sued Citizens for their forcing him into the Division of Administrative Hearings. We've heard so much about with Citizens, forcing people to go in front of administrative law judges, all appointed by the governor. And I believe there's 3 times that the plaintiff has won in all of those contests.
Well, before an article came out that just ripped it apart from the Trump campaign, they were batting 1,000. DOA did not lose, meaning that Citizens did not lose.
Citizens did not lose. They did not lose a single case brought by a plaintiff, no matter the facts, no matter the circumstances. And the thing about these Division of Administrative Hearings is that once you advise Citizens that you were upset with their decision, they sent you to it, and you can't get out.
Right.
There's no way
denying them access to court systems.
It does, 100%. It absolutely does.
I don't think is constitutionally correct. And we know that as the Restoration Association of Florida, we sued several times on unconstitutional legislation that came out that restricted contractors, that restricted roofers. I was the first one that sued for Senate Bill 76. So that's unconstitutional. For 2.5 years, we had it to where nobody was getting fines or penalties or could bring an action against a roofing company because it was being litigated. Yeah. And so we were able to give some relief to roofing companies that were like, how are we going to change this? That's our model. Like, it's a negative model. It's perfectly fine. Anybody can use anything. I mean, I was using examples of like different companies giving a $500 and $1,000 referral fee for certain things, like, a cell phone company or something like that. I'm like, why can they do that? but a roofer can't do that.
Plumbers are known for that.
the referral fees.
And it's nothing wrong with that. I'm not suggesting anything's untoward.
It's a business expense. And that's frowned upon. But then I can go to Google pay-per-click and spend thousands of dollars there, and maybe get a couple of phone calls.
Right.
I did say phone calls. I wasn't going to say the other.
I heard it slipping.
Heard it slipping. Somebody almost hit the dump button on me.
I'm hanging on.
Oh goodness! But you're at that point, and you're just like, I'm so frustrated. What are we going to do, right? So so we did. We litigated against it, and our group did that for a good reason, right? Is to say, it isn't fair not only to contractors but consumers alike, and now we see this again in many different ways. We're looking at the DOA thing, which is basically just to catch you up. If you have a citizen's policy, I think it was 24, 25?
Yes. 24, they went into effect. They've been using it now.
Every policy that's purchased or renewed after 2024 gets this DOA thing, basically, which is that is sent to that Department of
It's Department of Administrative Hearings, essentially.
And that comes up as soon as an attorney gets involved and files what they call a notice of intent to litigate.
And all that means is we disagree, right? There's no other import to that document than we disagree with what you've set forth. And instead of going, well, let's go to mediation, usually citizens used to go to mediation. Now, Ricky Polston, who used to sit on the Florida Supreme Court, who was, I think, Chief Justice for a period of time, I believe he was, now is Citizens' Chief Legal Counsel, and he actually put together this scheme where they actually change statutes only for the benefit of citizens and allow things that are only available otherwise in regular civil court now apply to administrative hearings, which never did before for as long as the state's been around, and orchestrated these changes that were in 100-page bills. There'd be like 4 lines, and it'd be like, citizens can now use this in their hearings. And it just kind of came and went because
well, it has to get approved through the Office of Insurance Regulation, and for some reason they allowed this to happen to where they say they're. In my my head,
any reason?
Right.
They asked
for the reason of for them screwing all the consumers. Of course,
there we go.
There's a reason to their madness, right? But how they were able to get this done, because as you know, it's a slippery slope. Once Office of Insurance Regulation then rubber stamps this for citizens, it's just a matter of time before another insurance company says, wait a minute, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Why can't we do that? Denying homeowners access to the court system is unconstitutional, period. And this violates that. So I'm glad that there's somebody that's standing up and saying, I'm going to file suit on that. I'm going to challenge it constitutionally and hopefully get that removed, because that's just ridiculous. So any policy that renews or purchased after 2024, if it's a citizen's policy, about a sixth of the population, a million policies out there, and 6.5 million, then are forced to go to this administrative hearing.
And so we're clear, the judge is a person, not necessarily even a lawyer, a person appointed by the governor to sit in that chair. That's it.
The same governor that was bought out with $100 million to make all these law changes so he can run for president? That governor?
Yeah, same guy.
Oh,
same guy.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
So that way they push all those people into that system. And literally once you go in, and even though the citizens demands it, you as the insured become the plaintiff, become the person bringing the action against citizens.
Huh.
So the burden of proof is on you to prove a case that they brought. They forced you into.
What happens if the homeowners council loses?
Then fees and costs are assessed against the insured, because they changed the law before and forever until 2 years ago. So there were no fees and costs assessable against the insured in that section. But now they can get fees and costs against the insured, which again didn't exist until Polston got the legislation passed that put in these couple of sentences that turned the whole thing on its head. Because he called me and I was talking to him. He said, well, and I was like, what'd you do? He's like, we got this statute changed that puts this in. So, yeah.
That's some crazy stuff right there.
It is.
And so in our after hours podcast, you'll hear the real explanation. But my real thoughts and feelings about it.
We need like a superhero. We need like a superhero to come help us somehow. I don't know who that might be or who that could be. But maybe someone will appear on tonight's show and help us with some of those concerns.
Right, and we really do hope so. After all of that, finger pointing and saying it's the roofers, it's the attorneys that they partner up together and they knock on doors and then they bring them straight to the lawyer. They're runners for the lawyers, really, what these roofers are. We'd love to hear the other side about this. It's absolutely not true. That's not the message. There are really folks out there that want to help people, especially after storms. That's the best time to knock on doors and say, how can we help you? If as little as, here, you might not have a cell phone capabilities. I have a phone or have some power. I mean, that's what we all do after a disaster.
Water would be nice sometimes, right? Some water.
Any of that.
Water's good.
And I say this because our CFO at the time, for the state of Florida, after the last storm, literally went on television multiple times.
Yes.
And we're calling the people that went out there to help folks after a storm locusts.
Now, what's funny about that is they send FEMA out to put tarps on people's roofs. Through the department of through the CFO, and they nailed all the tarps to people's roofs, and then left. So honestly, they didn't put sandbags. So literally, they said, "My house is leaking. What can we? The government's like, I'm from the government. I'm here to help you. We're here,
and we're doing this for free.
And we're doing it for free. Good ding, good ding, good ding, good ding. Put holes in everyone's roof.
Right. So they literally went and vandalized all of those homes. Is what they did. So, but. But to add some light to all of this, we have certified best roofing here. Carrie, what's going on? How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Richie and Hans.
Absolutely.
And I think that I could help be a superhero that you're looking for.
There we go. See, I knew someone would come.
We obviously need as much help as we can get over here.
That's right. Truth, justice, and the American way. Let's go.
Yeah. Tell us about yourself and your company.
Carrie Moreau from Certified Best Roofing. We're a family-owned business. It's myself and my brother, Derek. We're women-owned because he's my younger brother. But other than that, we make all decisions together. He's the license holder, and I'm the one, meeting with clients and forward-facing, managing the office, that kind of stuff. That's right.
Love it.
Family.
Yeah.
I don't see that often.
That's right. We're located in Oviedo, Florida, but we service all of Central Florida. And we're one of those companies that are out there helping people.
Yes.
We're not door knockers necessarily, but when you pull up in a wrap truck right after a storm or something's going on that someone's called you out, all the neighbors want you to come and take a look and help as much as you can. We're not nailing down our tarps. We're going to come with sandbags and doing them the right way, and take care of people as best as we can.
No, that's awesome. Excuse me. And we speak a lot about insurance-related claims here, and a lot of people are, afraid of their insurance company nowadays. They're like, oh man, I think, if I file a claim, I'm going to get canceled. I've been a good boy or girl for 20-something years, and I don't want to do that. And I've heard that I can't get a new policy if I have a claim in, and what happens if my claim takes forever? But what about storm season coming up and all that kind of stuff?
So many layers. And they hear the stories from family members, friends, neighbors that have been denied and then had problems finding or financing a roof or getting it done. So I don't think that their fears are, unwarranted. They're totally warranted, And in some situations, we've seen houses with hardly any damage get a full roof replacement right off the bat. And then with citizens, and then we've seen somebody 2 doors up get a complete denial that has to turn it over and pursue litigation for it.
Yeah, same storm, a couple doors down.
No
there's
rhyme
a
or
force
reason.
field. That's what I came up with.
That's right. No rhyme or reason to it at all. It's really strange at least from my perspective and what I see there in the field and what I see homeowners going through.
Right.
And it's very singular. It depends on the adjuster. It's like the day the adjuster, what kind of mood they're in, he or she may be in, and you get different reports. What I do find is most of the independent adjusters all tell my clients, the roof's a mess, we're going to write for a new roof. And they're energized by that. And then they get the letter that says, your claim's been denied. And then they call me and they go, that guy stood in my front yard and told my wife and I we were going to get a new roof, that it was a mess and he was going to get it fixed. And then it goes back to home office, and home office starts blue penciling all that out.
Yeah. And so many homeowners don't know what their policy will cover. They have no idea. So they shopped their policy based on their premium, and they don't know, and their deductible, and they were getting a good deal, quote unquote, know, and then when it comes down to actually, needing to file a claim, looking at all that information, they realize they don't have the coverage they thought they had.
Oh, yeah. The saying I use in roofing is there's nothing more expensive than a cheap roof. And the same thing with insurance. There's nothing more expensive than cheap insurance.
That's right.
Because it always costs you more in the end.
It costs
no
you more in
what.
the
You
end.
always get what you pay for, right? It's like with
Absolutely.
anything. And one point about that is that most people say, "Oh, well, I shopped. I use an agent," and many times. I know you might know the owner of that agency and they're super nice and they say, oh no, we have all these insurance companies in our portfolio. No, many of those big insurance companies are greedy. They're going to say, we don't want you to have any more than these partners or these select ones, or I want you to be, so they're very narrow. So you almost have to shop agents as well. And because each one of them might only have like 1 to 10 companies, maybe a net up to 30, but there are hundreds and hundreds of insurance companies here in the state of Florida. As much as I don't like the Office of Insurance Regulation because they're a bunch of clowns, but you can go to their website though, and you can look up by zip code for property insurance, and they'll give you a whole bunch of insurance companies that'll write in your area and their price.
Give you a quote, right? They give you a quote right there, I think.
Yeah. There's quotes right there, and I use it at my house, and I was like, oh, cool. And I got a 50% reduction. I was paying like $5,000 or $6,000 for the year. I found out that Loggerhead, which was like AAA executive, went over to Tampa, started a new company a couple of years ago, and then
That's
boom.
a guy from Finding Nemo, isn't it?
It was. I found him
from Finding Nemo.
Yeah, right. And it did. I cut it in half. I was like $3,100 a year for the same coverages. And I told my guy, I was like, listen, I want to make sure that I don't have any of these exclusions or limitations or caps.
Or
Those
also
are the new things.
a contract having to use the insurance company's recommended contractor.
That's the
That's
biggest
usually owned by the insurance company.
That'll be
She's speaking our
People's
language.
Trust. People's Trust Insurance Company.
Yeah, it exists today. They somehow legally got that approved through our Florida legislation that they can own rapid response. So when you're signing up with People's Distrust, you're signing up with rapid response as well, which is
And they won't even start working with that unless you pay the deductible up front. I mean, that is the evil genius policy that I see around the state. I mean, just you stop and you go, what kind of devious mind that said, hey, we can make money on both sides of this? So rapid response will finance your deductible for you before they start working.
Sure they will.
I mean, it's just the People's Trust. I mean, people come to me with People's Trust cases. Another thing too is when they send you a check for actual cash value, if you sign that check and deposit it, you are deemed to have accepted it and can no longer seek replacement cost value.
No way.
Honest to God.
Yep.
Well, Universal did that a while ago, and I always wipe my butt with it. Most people, didn't, because they would say, oh, by signing this check, and it's like, that's not a contract. You can't do that. It's a payment. You can't make a contract within a payment on the check itself.
Well, under normal HO3 policy, I would agree that's simply basically a credit against or like a progress payment for the ACV. But under People's Trust, they send you a check for ACV and you cash it without accepting basically they send you an ACV check and said, you can either take this check or use rapid response. People don't know. They get a check. They don't know what to do with it. A lot of people just sign it, deposit it, ends the claim. It's a release of RCV and rapid
just deposit
response.
it. Don't sign it. Yep, we're learning things here on the show here,
There you
people.
go. But
Good.
People's
That's a good
Trust.
tip.
Right.
I like that one.
People's Trust.
Yeah. Well, what about the whole process of some companies will issue the check and you're good to go. Some will send, and even if you have a mortgage, then other insurance companies will send it through to your mortgage company.
Right.
And then your mortgage company ties up that money, and they're a bank, right? So they're holding your money for weeks, months, and not releasing the money. They're like, oh, you have to go through this big process to get it done. They tell you it's going to be 10 days, and it isn't 10 days. It's
Right.
30, it's 60. And then when they release it, they only release
the
a
other problem.
portion
Yeah,
of it.
the monitored claim, yes. We have a bunch of clients who are in that position all the time.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
that's so frustrating. Is that they involve the mortgage companies at the wrong time. Right. I mean, where are the mortgage companies when all these law changes happen where they said, hey, by the way, in your best day, you're going to get ACV. And by the way, you have to pay your own attorney's fees.
Right.
Good luck. See ya. But they're like, all right, cool. And so then they want to take your money and hold it until it's done. Right. And so until it's all the way completed where they release the funds,
Well,
and
I mean,
most roofers won't wait for that.
If you beg and you keep calling and keep calling,
Right.
they'll
Progress-
work with you to
progress
release
payment
it.
stuff a little bit
Right.
here and there. Milestone type things.
Yeah. The last 40 seconds here for Certified Best Roofing. We're going to come back after the break, dig in a little bit more, but how do we get a hold of you here locally? If we want to get a roof estimate, an inspection, how do we get a hold of you?
CertifiedBestRoofing.com or 407-602-3363.
All right, love it. All right, well, you did that so fast.
So effectively, normally our guests aren't as fluent in that question.
I'm kidding.
It takes a little longer to figure that out.
I've been preparing my whole life for this moment, apparently.
I love it.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
If you're a contractor here in the Central Florida area or in the state of Florida, you want to check out our group, check us out on www.raflorida.org. You can be a member there, like, subscribe us, and we'll be right back after the break. All right. We're back from the break. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell every Monday night, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on 94.9 FM, 950 on the AM dial. So if you're here in Central Florida and maybe you listen to it on the podcast and you want to tune in here live, you can give us a call here in the in-house station. Don't call after hours, but call just now, just during the show between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. Heckle us, ask us a question. That call-in line is 407-774-8255. That's 407-774-8255. Let's just ask a question live on the show for ourselves, the attorney, the guest for us tonight. So if you have a question, please feel free to give us a call. You have until 8 o'clock. So outside of that, you can find us streaming on Spotify, iTunes, and of course on our YouTube page. Like us, subscribe us there. We are sponsored by the Restoration Association of Florida, raflorida.org. We're a nonprofit association by contractors for contractors, and now bringing this information to all consumers alike, as well as our own networks, to really just inform us all about what's going on. The law changes, what to expect, how to interact now in today's market is what my thing has been every month as the president of the Restoration Association of Florida, of just kind of informing the contractors. This is how you communicate to your homeowner. This is how, you can have an insurance policy and not be saving up for that big disaster, right? I don't even save up for disaster. Why? Because I pay my freaking premiums, and I expect that if a storm were to hit and the damages were superseding my deductible, well, I'm going to file a claim. I mean, that's what everybody does, right? You get hit, you get hit in a car or something like that, and you ding your door, and you're like, all right, the door's going to cost $1,000 or a $500 deductible. People are just like, for me, it's no brainer. I'm like, all right, if it's more than my deductible, that's why I have insurance. And so, but this law change became this chilling effect, really the story behind it, right? The false advertisement of this fake crisis that the state of Florida put on, and we saw it because we're up there every legislative session, and they kind of give a whisper at the end of one session of what the everything's going to be at the beginning of the next session, right? What the story's going to be, it's like, ooh, and then that year it was like, they made all that stink was saying the roofers and attorneys were all that in 2020 and all that built up to like these fake numbers, and then saying all this litigation occurs mostly in Florida. But of course, their figures that they came up with excluded major windstorms, or in some cases, non-windstorms, like all the Texas freeze claims. Right. They decided to keep that out of the national numbers. They decided to keep some of the stuff that happened in New York out of it, and they're just like, and then they make this skewed numbers and make it look like Florida is just a dumpster fire for litigation, and that attorneys are taking all the money from homeowners, so they have to do something about it.
Well, when in fact, one thing we had heard, or I think read, was that there was a discussion that the claim adjusters were instructed to deny claims to force people into litigation as a way to make those numbers go higher before the legislative season.
Yep, and that was in the year 3 of Hurricane Irma, I believe. And so we were at year...
Yeah, around 2020, yeah.
Yeah, so we were at year 3 of that as a 2017 storm, and at that point, the law said that you can then file first notice of claim in 3 years.
Yep, 3 years.
And so, and then 5 years to supplement. So in that last year, roofers are going crazy, knocking on doors and saying, hey, listen, this is the last year to have your home inspected, and if there's damages from that hurricane, we'll help you file the claim. We'll get it going. We'll get your roof replaced. And so the insurance companies said, you know what, we're going to make this point. And that's exactly what they did, Hans, is they put out a memo, and there's IAs, these independent adjusters that actually had proof of such and actually brought it to the 2022 Florida
committee.
Yeah, the House committee? That's where they started, and they went to all these committees, and they gave all this information showing the original emails that they sent for this claim, and then what the final numbers were from the insurance carrier, because the inside adjuster changed everything and left their name on it. So they were getting the phone calls from the mad husband and wife saying, you told me you're going to replace the roof, and now you wrote me a check for under deductible, and I don't even get a check.
Well, that was the case I tried last week with Universal. The IA went out and said, I'm going to write you a roof. Came back, wrote a roof, wrote for the interior, the in-house adjuster, the desk adjuster as they call them, called back the IA and said, take the roof out, leave everything else in, but left the IA's name on the estimate. And then they sent a letter to my client that said, the field adjuster determined that basically that your roof's not covered. And I deposed the guy. He goes, that wasn't me. That was the guy at the desk. And I'm like, you didn't write this? You didn't find that? No, I wrote for the roof. They told me to take it out. So that was our trial in Seminole County last week, 2 weeks ago now. Yeah.
Wow. And they make you take it all the way. How many years is this person waiting for their day in court?
It was a 20 loss. Went into suit in 22. I took the case over from another lawyer, and we went to trial. It was 4
years.
It was 4 years almost to the day from the date of loss to the date of trial.
Wow. I mean, and just imagine the numbers, right? So you look at, let's just look at the recent newspaper article that called out 15 insurance companies that denied or paid undeductible more than 50% of those claims. Only a certain percentage of them, maybe 10 to 20% of those folks, are actually going to go and call an attorney like yourself to actually bring that action against the insurance company. Yeah. And then only a certain percentage of those folks are going to wait the 4 years to actually recover.
Oh, my client was definitely battle scarred by the time we got to trial. He and his wife were just like, can we just make this go away? And I actually tried. I actually went to Universal and said, look, we make a deal. I said, honestly, my clients are tired. I mean, you win. The war of attrition has been won. And they were like, now we're going to go forward. I'm like, okay. And that was it. And so off we went. And
spent, is that like Hunger Games or something?
It got kind of crazy. It got kind of crazy. So.
It really is. And it's the strong that'll survive.
Yeah.
And so, but you have to be smarter than that, right? You have to be ahead of those things and know what's going on, right? And so having a good roofing company behind you, one that will then stick behind you with you the whole entire time, hold your hand with you the whole entire time, and to offer some sort of suggestions. We were just talking offline here with Certified Best Roofing. They're one of the companies that would say, we offer in-house financing, zero dealer fees, and we'll be able to put your roof on now while you're waiting those years and years. So at least you can have some relief on during that time. That might be an option.
And real quick, one of the reasons when I say nothing more expensive than a cheap roof is you have somebody come in and do a roof for really what's less than it should be.
Chucking a truck.
Chucking a truck. You won't get good photos. You won't get a good estimate. And the problem we run into is, let's say it storms in 2020. It might not get to me for a year. It might not get to me for 2 years, depending on what's going on. By the time I get it, if those photos, the original photos, original estimate are bad, don't show what they need to show, the best claim immediately goes down the toilet because I get it and the client calls and I go, well, I got the photos from the roofer and I don't know what he's taking photos of. I don't see it. I can't tell what it is. The estimate is written in such a way. I had a client recently, they ran an eagle view, which is how they measure roofs by satellite. Lady's a big tree in her front yard.
You can't see the roof.
She can't see the roof.
Yeah.
So Eagle View has some glitch in it, and they do a good job. But because of the tree, they doubled the squares. So they said it was a 60 square roof, and it's a 30 square roof. We went out and walked it. So what I get is I get bad photos and an Eagle View that says it's a 60 square roof, and the adjuster's going 60 squares. Basically, that's fraud because it's double that. And I'm
no, it's double layer. It's the new thing. When you want double protection, you just put another layer on top.
I mean, and those
everybody knows that.
And those are the things that you see again when you use a chuck in the truck, as we colloquially call that. What you get is you don't get good support, you don't get good photos, a good estimate, and someone who's still there when you call them 2 years later.
That's right.
That's right. And speaking with Carrie offline, your company, especially coming into storm season, is a company that's based off of being ahead of the game.
That's right.
And being prepared. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we encourage everyone to get a free roof inspection. I mean, there's so many reputable roofing companies in Central Florida. We're one of them, right? So someone that offers a free roof inspection that's not there to push anything on you, just to give you factual data that's going to document what your roof looks like now. Give you a report, tell you, what's going on up there, blow off the leaves, give you a really good up-close look. So up-close photos, aerial photos, all the things you need, like really over-document it with a report that says these are the things you should do if you want to get storm ready so that you don't have a problem when the storm comes.
So you're
some of
talking
those
pre-storm right now.
Pre-storm,
So order your inspection now.
Yeah, order your inspection now. And so we have links on our website. You can get to that information and to sign up for that. Then once we do that, we provide you, like, if you want to do these preventative things, this is, if you want an estimate, you'll have to ask for one. We're not going to push one on you. So here's the information. Make your decision. Let us know if you want to move forward. If not, you've got everything you need. And then we'll also have a conversation like, hey, have you looked at your policy? Have you had a review? Here's a couple of people. If you want a second opinion, we'll refer them to somebody that will seriously just look at it to give them information. Nobody isn't pushy. Anybody we work with is not pushy at all. We want advocates. We want homeowner advocates. So we'll make some recommendations and move on. And then if there is an issue, it's much better to know a roofer and have them in your phone before there's a storm than the storm hitting, and then you're like, oh, great, you gotta wait. You're seeing a truck drive up, and you're just going to get the first person that you see. In this way, you've kind of interviewed them. That's another thing we have on our website. We have how to find a roofer, how to interview a roofer, I forget the name of it. Sorry.
And what's the website?
CertifiedBestRoofing.com. So we have a PDF on there, free PDF that tells you how to basically interview your roofer. It's got steps on there if you're paying cash or if you're going to pay insurance, but it's all the questions. So whether they come to us or they want to try somebody else out, it's everything you need and everything you should vet to find out if this is a trusted professional you want to work with.
Nice. And if they want a roundabout cost of what my roof's going to cost to replace, can they find that on your website?
Yes, we have a quick quote. So in 60 seconds, you can pull up that, you can type in your address, and in 60 seconds, it's going to send you a report that gives you a really close estimate. So it's not a hard estimate, because if there's a tree in the way or something like that, we can't see to measure it correctly. We can't, maybe the Google Street View is not going to give a good idea of what the pitch is, but we can get you super, super close, whether it's metal, tile, any type of, you can pick which one, shingle, metal, tile, it'll give you that amount. So, it works in lots of different areas, but, at least kind of what you're facing and what you're looking at. And we try to give those resources because we want to be the trusted professional, and we're not out there door knocking. But like I said, you've got a good roofer, the roofing Wonder Woman in your back pocket before there's a storm. We're going to answer our phone. We're not going to send people out to be pushy or do anything like that. But when that storm is approaching, that's when our phones start to light up. People that have put off a repair or still have a tarp from the last storm because their insurance company hasn't come through, all of those people start panicking. Right?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and so our phone starts to light up.
That's when the storm's on the way. And at that point, it's too late.
The cone of shame? No, the cone of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
When it's on the way, it's too late. So,
That's right.
So order it today. How do they get a hold of you? What's your phone number?
407-602-3363 or certifiedbestroofing.com.
Love that. And like she said, now is your time, right? And it's a free, no pushy, no big sales push. Just say, sign up with me today. They're not even going to push an estimate your way. It's just, how does my roof look? And you mentioned you store the pictures, even give a report. So that way, if a storm does come through, you have your pre-assessment report right there. So you know what was damaged from the storm right there.
Yeah, there's one other thing we do too, but we can save it for after we come back from the break.
All right. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Don't touch that dial.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. And we're back live on 94.9 FM, 950 on the AM dial. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell every Monday night right here live on this radio dial, and also brought to you a few days after. So you find us on YouTube. Like us, subscribe us there. Contractor Talk Podcast. That's how you find us. Or you find us on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you like to stream. You'll find a link to that on our nonprofit website, raflorida.org. Tonight, we have Carrie with Certified Best Roofing and some great information for those folks that are listening, especially in the Central Florida area. Geez, I think just in April alone, we had a weird like cyclone come through and just random right in our neighborhoods too, Hans. I swear they're trying to get back at us. But it kind of missed us, though. Went through Lake Mary, kind of Sanford, over towards your neck of the woods in Oviedo. And then there was just some weird hailstorms, things like that. So really, it's not, we're always focusing on storm season, right? After July, all the way through, I would say, well, the official end is Thanksgiving, right? So we have that time where we're like just biting our nails going, is it going to be a bad storm season? My roof is kind of halfway through. I'm nervous. What am I going to do? And we're chatting about like how you offer a report in a non-pushy way, so that way you can have all the information available. So when you do need to say, okay, we're ready to get our roof replaced, we have a report of what was what the roof looked like, what the condition it was prior to the storm, which is always good. Now within that, do you find damages that are just like repairable damages?
Yeah.
And do you guys offer the repairs as well?
I mean, we find interesting things like sometimes we find bullets in roofs, which is funny.
We've seen that before too. As an engineering firm, we're out there inspecting it, and we're like, "Is that a bullet?"
Oh, yeah.
And it's usually the folks inside are really having a good time, and they'll celebrate and they'll shoot the guns in the air.
Yeah, it's got to come down somewhere. Yeah, but pop nails.
Physics.
Yeah, pop nails, loose shingles, a boot that needs to have some bull put around it, a gutter that's completely clogged that's backing up, or even if there's a low spot in a valley or something like that, like it's not draining right, but we'll find all of that when we're up there and we'll let you know. I mean, most people are going to, if they've got some extra money coming in, they're going to remodel a bathroom. They're not going to look at their roof, right? Even if it's close to being at the age, because it's not like you're going to go up there on Friday night and have a beer with your neighbors, It's not where you're going to spend the money.
Nice roof you got there. That's a beauty. Is it watertight? It sure is.
When that hurricane starts to cross that cone of uncertainty, you start to rethink that maybe you should have taken a look. But yeah, let us get up there so you don't have to and document it.
What is your thought on metal roofs?
Metal roofs are the way.
You think so?
I do, because insurance companies aren't coming after them the same way that they're coming after shingle. So
it's definitely not as sexy, right? When you look at it, I think I'm like, okay, it looks like the Tin Man's hat,
If it's standing seam.
Standing seam, hidden fastener. I say metal roofs go from like, if you look at it like a car, so you could have a Honda or you can have a Lamborghini or say a Corvette. So, it's all about aesthetics. What do you want to look like? It's all going to get you to the same place.
Yeah, I have Decra on my house, which is the metal with the
granules on it.
Ceramic granules instead of whatever asphalt. So that's pretty good. It looks like tile.
It does,
but it's all metal. The stuff is nailed down. I mean, the rest of the house is going to disappear.
The wind rating is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your house will be gone and your roof will still be there.
We'll be hiding under the roof. Rest of the house. Nothing left.
Heavy metal fan he is. Okay, I had no idea.
I think standing seam does a little Tin Man action. I get that, but it's really very popular.
I mean, you can get a painted rib panel. It looks great, a painted rib panel, and it's going to last over 40 years. So if you're planning on owning your home, or even if it's going to turn into investment property, you're going to pass it down to your kids, one and done. You're going to do that roof and never have to touch it again. But with a shingle, depending on the insurance company, because I see them sending cancellations to people, it's like year 12 on their roof. Like, what? I mean, roofs, if they're done properly and you've got a good grade shingle, it should last you between 18 and 22, even with our storms. I mean, unless you have like major 2-inch hail or whatever, that's a whole other issue. Right. But, it should last, and we're just filling up the landfills. With good roofs.
All right. Well, I'm still not sold on it, because I have the feeling that I look at it, I'm like, oof, man, that's just so much heat that it's going to drive into my attic.
It reflects UV.
Does it though? It doesn't just hold it?
No, it reflects UV, especially if it's painted. It has an Energy Star on it.
When I touch a car sitting out in the sun, I don't feel like it being reflected. I feel like it's hot.
Well, I mean, it's surface temperature, but it's reflecting and it's not coming through. Whereas a shingle roof has to absorb your UV, and it's going to stop in your insulation. But if you've got good insulation and you're going to drop 5 degrees once you get a metal roof.
You think so? On the same type of whatever.
On average, right? So if you've got good air circulation in your roof, put a solar powered attic fan up there, and you're gonna see a major difference. I hear every single client that gets a metal roof, that's exactly what they tell me.
I wasn't sure. When we bought the house and put it on, what I did is, instead of put another perf in the roof, I took a fan that's built to go between 2 joists and mounted that and aim it toward the vents,
off-ridge vent.
Toward the off-ridge vents.
Nice.
So that's again, because I don't like putting holes in my roof. And
that's good.
Hey, we put this big fan in. I'm like, it's like putting a skylight in, for God's sake.
A little bit, yeah. But their lifetime, you get a good roofer to do it, it's going to last. It's not going to leak.
So I have a fan I've been blowing 5 years.
Nice.
It's just mounted between the joists, and it just faces right up at the off-ridge vents.
That's a great idea.
Some air out.
Love that.
Good stuff. That's good stuff. All right, that was always my thought. It's like, man, it would just make it so much hotter that my air conditioning is going to have to work that much more because of that. That's just, again, my thought.
Well, if you're getting the mill finish panel, which is the silver, panel, it's not painted, but the the paint is a coat. It's a coating, right?
Sure.
So it's a coating that goes on there. It reflects UV. It has an Energy Star on it.
I know on Lake Brantley they built about 8 houses or built within the last year or so. They all have black standing seam roofs.
Hot to the touch, but the inside of the house is going to be better than it was with shingle, believe it or not.
The boat, and I was looking and go, that's got to be like you could bake cookies on that roof.
You could totally bake cookies on a black metal roof.
How hot that is. We just drive around a boat and just stop and go, a black roof.
Yeah.
I mean, ours is like charcoal. Ours is dark, but it doesn't seem like that.
Yeah, there's also, different underlayments you can upgrade to that have Energy Stars attached to them. So there's high, radiant barrier, underlayment or high temp peel and stick. For, just a little bit of an upgrade, you're going to get another Energy Star.
It's like a
I
gold
know.
star.
How many stars are there?
Gold stars.
Just
Cool.
curious.
I think one with the roof and then one with your underlayment if you want,
2
if you
stars.
upgrade. So 2.
It's like a general.
Yeah. Put it on my refrigerator.
Order people around with 2 stars.
Oh, now I want some Energy Stars.
There you go.
I
See,
know,
now,
right?
see, that's
It's addicting.
It's aspirational.
And the other and I'm not a big advocate for solar panels on shingle, but if you're someone who's just maybe thinking and toying around with the idea of doing solar, metal roof is the best because it's going to clamp. So it's not going to drill in. You're going to clamp it.
I had somebody recently. House was like 2,400 square feet. They had like 40 solar panels, and they have to come off for the roof replacement.
Do you know how much that is? People don't know. They don't know how much it costs to just detach and reset a solar system. They have no idea.
When I go to mediation people, I say, do you have this? Before we ask for the solar contract, because the reputable ones will take it off for free.
They'll include
one time.
That's
Really?
right.
For a roof trade.
If they're still open.
If they're still around, if they haven't gone out of business.
That's right.
The other ones will charge like $3,500, or some just say whatever the cost is. And it can be like $15,000. I've had many a mediation either go south or have the insured have to. I'm like, look, man, this is all they're going to pay, and you're on your own for the solar panels.
Yeah. It prices people out of the ability of being able to replace their roof.
What do you know about solar panels? Do you install them?
We do not.
You don't, but do you work with folks that do?
We do. Yeah,
Okay.
we can refer people over. Yeah, we've got reputable companies that will
The
refer
metal
people
roof
to.
is interesting because you can clamp and not have to perf. I like that idea.
Yes.
That's much better.
It's the way.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
build a gazebo or some type of shed and put them on that.
Right.
But that's if I had a bunch of money to throw at solar, pay cash, and don't put it on your own. Don't put it on your house. Put it on your land or put it on a detached building.
Like what Disney does on 429.
That's
There's
right.
Those fields of solar panels as you come.
Right. Just
Yeah.
connect in there.
But my solar friends don't come after me. Sorry about that. But I know there's a lot of money to be made in solar, but I'm just not a fan.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have one on my roof for that. That's
Yeah.
But what's your favorite roof type? Somebody's calling you and say, hey, here's what I have right now. What are you recommending?
What am I recommending? I'm recommending what I would recommend to a family member. And there's going to be other roofers out there that disagree, but I would say a 26 gauge rib panel where you see the exposed fasteners. Because the price difference from hidden fastener to exposed fastener and the gauges of metal, you're really not getting, it is more protection, maybe, whatever, but it's the middle of the road. So like I always say, I'm not looking for the most expensive and I'm not looking for cheap. I'm just looking for the better side of medium. So I'm going to say get a rib panel with exposed fastener and get it with the coating, get a color.
How long is that going to last me?
40 years.
Holy cow. That's great.
And then people will ask, the main question I get was, what's the maintenance? So the maintenance is if you've got trees, you're going to have, leaves and things that are going to get up there. If you've got a lighter colored roof, you're going to see that organic matter. So you need someone that's going to be able to do a soft wash that knows what they're doing, that knows how to walk on a metal roof. Lots of companies do. So once a year, you're going to get it cleaned. Maybe if you've got more trees, your HOA is going to tell you to do it sooner. But and then the screws are lifetime. So they're encapsulated, so you're not, all of the nerding out details. But basically, it used to be once upon a time, a while ago, that you had to replace your screws every so many years.
They start to back out.
Right.
But now you just get
really,
your
the
roof
rubber
inspection.
around it starts to wear down as well,
Yeah,
too.
but that's now encapsulated, so it's not exposed to the elements. So
good.
it's
Rubber,
a lifetime
what do you
screw.
It's like from the 50s, man. Rubber. There's a space age polymer now that does that.
Man, all the ones we look at have those old school just
Exactly.
You have to. It's almost like O-rings in there. Like, what the heck is that? They still make those?
Yeah, but insurance companies aren't coming after metal roofs, so you get that roof done and you're good. You're not going to hear from them.
That's great. And as we know that in today's market, I mean, we talk about this a lot about some of the bills that never actually went through, and some of these wild ideas like, hey, let's put a roof surface schedule thing in there we'll just depreciate your roof for whatever we think. We'll just throw it in a policy. Well, that got backed out.
You mean Ken? But Ken does that.
Yeah, and some others are doing. I think Heritage and some others, were just put it in their policy, just like, boom, hey, it didn't pass the legislation, and there was a reason for that, because you can't do that. The state of Florida says you need an RCV coverage in all your HO3 policies. I mean, replacement cost value of what it costs today to replace it. It doesn't say, well, no, if it hits the end of the lifespan, then you depreciate it. And
right.
That whole thing of like, I'm 90 years old, I drowned, what's the cause? It's not old age, it's not wear and tear. It's, in that case, it was drowning. In this case, it's hail. In this case, it's wind, and it doesn't matter. The whole thing should be replaced. But that's not what's happening.
Right.
You see more insurance companies saying, nope, it's halfway through its lifetime, so we're only going to pay 50%.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's wild. And so and we kind of glossed over it. So for the folks that are listening today, the big takeaways from Certified Best Roofing is call Carrie. They'll come out and do a free inspection of your roof, give you a report of condition of your roof.
Oh, we didn't talk about the cliffhanger.
Yeah, the cliffhanger. So you can go to our website and you can go to roofwatcher.com. You can register your address and we'll monitor your roof for you. So if there's any wind event, hail event, anything severe that would have damaged your roof, then it's going to initiate us to give you a call. Again, not pressure, but just say, hey, we saw this thing happen. It happened on your address. Let us come out and take a look and make sure that you don't need to file an insurance claim.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
living in a modern world.
That's right. Don't worry about those door knockers. You can ignore them because we're monitoring your roof for you. And if we haven't called you, then you're good.
Looking with your phone going, let me take a look here.
Well, and most people don't know that if we have sustained or gust winds of 50 mile per hour and up, these types of shingle roofs could be damaged. 60 mile per hour and up, you can have some damage on your tiles, even on your metal roofs. Yes, they could be damaged as well, upwards of 60 plus miles per hour. So really, it's important to get a free inspection on your roof. How do you maintain your roof? We always talk trash about that. It's like, oh, you didn't maintain your roof. It's like, how do you maintain a roof? It's
exactly.
Like, you go, whatever. You call a professional to go in every several years, take a look at your roof. That's a question for you. How often?
Once every year before storm season.
Love it.
That's when you need to do it.
All right, there you go. Certified Best Roofing is a way to go. Non-pushy on the sales, and your website, certifiedbestroofing.com.
That's right.
Best way to get a hold of you. All right, guys, this will conclude our show. We'll talk to you guys next week. See you.